let's jump into our module of the week. And as usual, we're going to turn it over to Martin Anderson-Klutz, a senior solutions engineer at Acquia and a maintainer of a number of Drupal modules of his own. Martin, what do you have for us this week?
Thanks, John. Have you ever wanted to present a better, more organized version of the content ad page on a Drupal site with a large number of content types? There's a module for that. It's called Type Tray, and it was created in March of 2021. It has a 1.2.4 version available, which works with Drupal 9.2 or newer and Drupal 10. And it is actively maintained. In fact, the most recent release was earlier this year. Now, it has only 8 open issues, and 3 of those are bugs, and 2 of those actually already have patches. And it does have test coverage as well. The module is currently in use by a little over 2,700 websites, and it was created by Marco Scano, who has a couple of co-maintainers, all 3 of whom appear to be from Lullabot. Now, the module allows a site builder to categorize the content types and then present those in a list or grid view. Each content type can be assigned a thumbnail and or icon to give content creators a visual idea of the options available to them, in addition to there being an extended description field for the content type. There is also an ability to assign a weight to each content type so that as a site builder, you have control over the order in which it will display within its category. Now, also note there is a Gin type tray module available to make the type tray look better when used with the Gin admin theme. And listeners may remember our discussion of the schema.org blueprints module back in episode, I think it was 366. That project includes a schema.org type tray module to provide its own type tray integration. So let's talk about type tray.
I think that's interesting. Is that available for other content types like paragraphs or blocks? Because I really love the way that layout is for it. But I was wondering if you could extend it to other entity types.
As far as I know, it works exclusively with node bundles, but I'm not sure. Maybe it could be extended to work with other kinds of entities as well.
I'm always interested by modules that help content editors and content creators do things better. And I feel like, especially if you have like a ton of content types on your site, that like the current Drupal content page is meh, it's all right. If you look at the kind of the visuals on this module page of what this module is able to achieve, it's actually pretty cool. It allows for, you can see that the thumbnails there that have kind of the layout options within that the page, shows you kind of exactly what you're going to get, or at least a little bit of what you're going to get. That's pretty cool, as well as the icons. I think that's pretty intuitive as well. So I'm all for better user interface.
Especially if you could take control over how each of those little snippets look like. I've seen different breakdowns of content types that basically shows like a screenshot of the intended result. I think that would be a good next step to take, like maybe make each of those snippets themable.
This is one of those little helpful, if it's a requirement for your client, it's one of those things that would be kind of a little annoying to create and do yourself. And so having a module that kind of does it, it sets up the structure for you is great. And even just the ability to sort them, I think, so they're not alphabetical is great. Because how often are there like content types that, like, most sites have, complex
group
sites
and sort.
Yeah, group and sort. Yeah.
Right.
There's just so many content types that you use only a couple of times a year, maybe, and then others you use daily, and being able to reorder that is nice.
Just thinking of something else that Martin is familiar with is the event platform, right? And just thinking of like a Drupal camp or an event website, right? So you have like your page creation pages, right, where you might have like a basic page and a more advanced page, right? But then you have like your session and camp related stuff, session speakers, that sort of thing. It could be interesting to kind of work through splitting those into different categories to make that a little bit easier. But anyway, there are probably a million uses for this module. Has anybody actually used this module like in the wild?
No.
was
Nope.
curious.
The other thing I was just going to point out is that I think the way this adds sort of, icons and more of a visual reference to the overall experience, I think also kind of aligns with some of the changes that are being made within core around adding, reusing fields or adding new field types and sort of making that a more visual experience. So I think it really helps to make the content ad page sort of align better with the overall direction that core is moving in.
Do you know if the order of the menu updates based on what you update to? Because to be honest, I usually just use the add content menu fairly often. Although I don't know if I would want that to be non-alphabetical.
So now I'm trying to think, is that menu actually Drupal core, or does that come from the admin menu module?
That comes from admin toolbar. So
yeah.
I don't know if that would affect that. And I mean, you could actually in your configuration change the weight in the menu as well. So I don't know if that would be a thing that you could match up.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. Also, I just have to point out, I think the other nice thing that this does, I assume it does, I could be wrong, I guess. I think it makes the click target bigger for like choosing one, because you can easily target just one row, but like sometimes they're, a giant list of things. It's hard to target the right one, but spreading them out a little bit, if you can click on the icon instead, it's just that much easier to, choose what you're doing.
I would hope that the icon's clickable as well, because that would certainly help out. I also like that I'm assuming that these links of view existing article nodes means that it'll go to your content page and then just already filter out the existing articles. That's a really nice feature as well.
That's literally worth the price of admission right there. I sometimes struggle with the filtering on the content page, but that might just be a me hang up and not a everybody hang up. Alrighty. Well, Martin, as always, thank you for enlightening us to another wonderful module.
See you next week.
See you.
All